So entrepreneurs struggle with fear for sure. And I understand this. My wife and I have started 6 different multi-million dollar companies from scratch, from zero. And it's scary and it's hard. But this is the difference between what it means to be an entrepreneur and not, is your relationship with risk and your relationship with fear and your ability and willingness to overcome and thrive in spite of that. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 main strategies, I guess, that we've used and that I've used to learn to be okay with risk and be comfortable with risk, and how to push past that fear to get your idea really, off the ground. And the first one is autonomy. It is autonomy. It's embracing this idea that you're not afraid to go alone and you're not afraid to be alone. And, if you used to working in a big company or big organization, it can be scary to be like, oh, now I'm leaving and I'm all on my own. My family doesn't understand what I'm doing. My friends don't understand what I'm doing. And they're all out partying or doing whatever they're doing on the weekends, watching football games. And like, I'm at home grinding and trying to like write copy for a website and get a business off the ground. And that's something you just got to be comfortable with, and you have to embrace that autonomy. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from a dear friend of mine named Jamie Kern-Lima, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in history. And she says, "You're not crazy, you're just first." You're not crazy, you're just first, right? People will tell you you're crazy, and every great entrepreneur, they once heard that they were crazy, but it's not that they're crazy, they're just first. But then when you look at the people who are all super successful, right? Like when Gary Vaynerchuk had someone following him around with a camera, people are like, that guy's crazy. And it's like, no, he's not crazy. He was just first. Now, lots of people do it. Everybody does it. But he's the one with millions and millions of followers because he was first. Be okay with autonomy. Be okay to go alone, right? And it's like I always think about that song, "Here I go again on my own," right? That's the entrepreneur chant, man, and you gotta be okay with it. The second thing is responsibility. Responsibility is something that I feel a great responsibility to do something with my life because of what other people have done before me. And that really is a big motivator, is I go, look, I live in America, and it's like there have been generations and generations of people who literally have taken bullets, literally died, gave their life so that I would have the freedom to do whatever I want to do, so that I could start a business. Every single day there's policemen and there's firefighters and there's people all around who risk their lives so that I have the freedom to do what I want to do. So that weighs on me. Like, I'm not going to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day. That's disrespectful. Like, to me, that's disrespectful, dishonoring to people to teachers who give their lives to educate and who have educated me. And, and then I also just feel blessed to live in a world. I mean, it's ridiculous. The world we live in right now is filled with such convenience. Like, I literally have a computer in my pocket, a camera in my pocket. I can hire editors from around the world for $5 to help me with this or that. I've got, we all have computers, we have the internet. I can push a button and have food show up at my friggin' doorstep. Like, we live in the most comfortable and convenient time in history. So yeah, I feel a little bit of an obligation to do something with my life, to use the tools and the talents that I have, because it's like there's generations of people who have had it so much harder and so much more difficult. And for me to just like sit around and do nothing, to me, that's disrespectful to them. And that is a part of what motivates me to go, yeah, I'm not going to just waste my life, playing video games all day or sitting around and watching movies all day. Like, do I do some of that stuff? I don't play video games at all, but I do watch shows. But it's like, that's not how I'm going to spend my life. It's not respectful to the people who've sacrificed so much. So to me, it's responsibility. The third thing that drives me past a lot of the fear is activity. Activity. And this is something I wrote about in my very first book, Take the Stairs, and still to this day, people, use it, and when they don't, sometimes they don't quote it, but and I'm not the creator of this concept, but what I said is put your self-esteem in your work habits, not your results. Put your self-esteem in your work habits, your activity, right? You go, I can't control whether or not people like my videos or they share them. What I can control is whether or not I record them, right? I can't control whether or not people buy from me. What I can control is whether or not I talk to them. I can't control whether or not I get a publishing deal. I can control whether or not I create a book proposal. I can't control whether or not someone hires me to speak. I can control whether or not I send them an email and send them my demo video, right? Those are the things and that's what I think entrepreneurs survive off of, is they're not so worried about the result. They're not so worried about what other people say about them or even how much money they make. They're focused on controlling the things that are within their control. They're driving aggressively on doing the thing that they know how to do, the thing that other people aren't, and that's what other people aren't willing to do. Other people wait for someone else to do it for them. Entrepreneurs show up and say, I'm going to take charge and do this myself. And I can trust that if I put in the right activity, like on the front end, like if I put in the work on the front end, the results will show up sooner or later. And that's a great way to overcome fear, is to just go, I don't care if I succeed. I'm not focused on winning and losing. I'm focused on working. I'm focused on doing what I know how to do. And that's what activity is all about. But the most powerful driver of all for overcoming fear is service. It's absolutely about service. There is no fear when the mission to serve is clear, right? When you're thinking about yourself, there's always fear. Do I look silly on camera? Are people going to think I'm stupid? Are they going to think I'm arrogant? Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to fumble? Am I going to screw it up? We're so worried about what people think about us because we're self-centered, right? And a huge part of my life, I've just been worried so much about, I want to achieve something so that people look at me a certain way. I need to have enough followers so that blah, blah, blah. I need to have a title. I need to have a car, a house, money, a job title. I need to be invited to the party and be with the cool kids. All of that is so self-centered. And if that's the game you're playing, if that's the world you're living in, you're constantly going to feel fear. You're constantly going to feel insecure because there's always going to be some higher level of followers, some additional dollar amount in your bank account, somebody richer than you, some other group of cool kids that you aren't invited to, some other status symbol that you can't get or didn't get or can't afford. And you always feel insecure. But when you feel secure is when you're serving. When you feel powerful is when you're focused on helping other people. If you're driving down the road and there's a car that is turned over in a ditch and it's on fire and you hear somebody screaming for their life, you run over to help that person. You're not thinking about, how does my hair look? And is my outfit cute? And does my breath stink? Right? All of that goes away because you're focused on saving somebody's life. And we spend way too much of our time and way too much of our energy being worried about, how do I look, and is my outfit cute, and does my breath stink, and am I saying the right thing? And we don't spend nearly enough time going, how can I help people? How can I add value to their life? How can I be useful to somebody else? When I'm focused on being useful to them, I'm much less concerned about how I am occurring in the world and what other people think about me. And that's a super powerful place to operate, right? There is no fear when the mission to serve is clear. And I think what separates great entrepreneurs, one of the things that separates great entrepreneurs from others, is they're going, the competition is not to bolster their ego, it's to solve a problem in the world. It's that they see an opportunity to go, this is something that sucks about the world. This is something that's frustrating. This is something that I hate dealing with. And this is something that bothers other people. And I go, I think I can solve this problem for humanity. And they throw themselves relentlessly in the direction of service to solve a problem for humanity. And when they do that, they get money and fame and notoriety and glory and like whatever. But I think the best entrepreneurs are not the ones that are chasing that. They're the ones just going, how do I make a difference? Right? Like it's one thing to go, how do I make $1? It's a whole nother to say, how do I make a difference? And it's less of going, how do I get people to give a crap about me? And how instead can I give a crap about them? How can I be useful to other people? When you operate in service, there is no fear when the mission to serve is clear.